Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Happy Monday morning and welcome to Wake Up Real Estate. Monday is for motivation, mortgage, and marketing. Ryan will be right back. He's got a contractor that he had to meet and get pointed in the right direction. So he'll be right back. Good morning, Mike, Smith, and Jack. Good morning and hello from Houston. Speaking of which, we will be ready to roll in Texas this week. What I mean by that is we should be officially licensed and ready to roll there. Our mortgage team, now our mortgage brokerage, NEXA Mortgage, we've been licensed in Texas for a long time, but our specific team had not been, but that's all changing, and we should have that ready to roll this week. So if you're in Texas and you would like to connect and chat about how we might help you generate more leads, get more conversations, get more pre-approvals, and even proactively collaborate and work together on the marketing front, please reach out. You can just hit me up or use the chat widget bottom right at wakeup.realestate, or call, text, whatever is easiest for you. Lo, good morning, and let's go to you as well. So Ryan is going to be right back, and we're going to dig into QR code scan rates on direct mail. Ryan shared on his social. Now he's back. Ryan shared on his social late last week. Was it Friday or Saturday that I saw it? It doesn't matter.
Friday, yeah.
The a kind of like an infographic and some details about the QR code scan rates on different direct mail types by thanks.io, which if you're not using thanks.io, what are you waiting for? You should check out what is scrolling across the bottom. Get your free account at growwithjosh.com/thanks. And also be sure to check out justsold.info. So we're going to get into that, those QR code scan rates and what that means and how you can use that information to more strategically get more clients, right? Because that's really what it's about. We're going to get to that in a minute. But Ryan, before we do that, did you have, look at that, social post of the day. Beautiful thing.
Yeah, so I took the Fed watch tool. It's Mortgage Monday, right? And today's a good day, Mondays, to do your rate post of the week or some day of the week. So Josh, rates are just hanging out there in the mid sixes still. Right here. So I just grabbed the screenshot from Mortgage News Daily. And then that CME Group Fed Watch tool, if you Google that, remember we talked about this, and I'm gonna be posting this more often with respect to kind of looking smart with forecasting rates. It'll kind of make you look cool. But share the image here. There's a meeting, it looks like on March 20th, and the market participants think there will be no change. 97% think that the rates are going to hold steady where they are. So, knowing this, having this data allows you to maybe pontificate a little bit or just editorialize a little bit. And all I did was just talk about how, if you've been waiting for rates to come down, that they might not be. But the good news is there's always good deals out there. Reach out to me if you want a list of good deals that are out there. See down at the bottom. So spin this in your own voice. Yep.
So my weekly email newsletter, send it out every Friday morning. Last week, I was going to do a screen share video talking about that. What would you call that? That data, that information
it's
on
the CME Group Fed Watch
tool.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was going to do that last week, but had a listing that we needed to go live with last minute. And so I used that as an opportunity to drive more eyeballs at that. And if you missed Fridays, you should check that out. I personally thought that was a pretty good template for how to announce a new listing to your database in a way that has relevance to anyone that might be receiving it. So you can go check that out. But what I'm going to do in lieu of that, so normally this week I would do my market update. So I would talk about how many homes have sold, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to use the market update to share this, right? That's still a market update, kind of. But that's the content that I'll be recording and emailing out on Friday, just going through some of the projections. And I'm just playing reporter. I'm not going to share my opinion on it. I'm simply going to report the information that you can find on the site there, that CME FedWatch chart.
Yeah, FedWatch tool.
Yeah.
CME FedWatch
tool. Yeah. Yep. CME FedWatch tool. And you know what we'll do, Mike, can you make note to add the link to that in the description and with the replay of this and stuff, so that it's easy for people to find? Well, there's all kinds of fancy stuff in there.
Yeah, yeah. Being looped in on some of this macroeconomic stuff, it just gives you another tool in your toolbox. You sound a little smarter. There's not a lot to know here. You just know that the CME group's like they're in Chicago. They're like traders use this. People who try to predict what's going to happen. So talk about what people are predicting and spin it to your purposes, or to just help people understand where the market's at.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. So quick little motivation nugget before we get into marketing and the QR code scan rate. So Pam and I, with our oldest son, we were on an official visit in Louisville this week.
Louisville.
Incredible on so many levels. And a real simple one today. This is right outside their locker room. Win the day.
Just today.
Win the day. And that can look a whole lot of different ways. Sometimes winning the day is simply surviving the day, right? It can have a whole lot of different meanings, but simple and straightforward. Win the day. Do something today to move the needle forward in some area of your life, right? Do something to grow your database. Do something to nurture your database. Do something to positive for your health or for your family. Just something.
5 push-ups.
What's that?
5 push-ups.
5 push-ups. Make your bed. It could be make your bed. Look at this. We're getting exercise right here on the show, right? And
Give my push-ups.
Let's see how winded Ryan is. But win the day. Simple and straightforward. And I think we had an incredible experience. And the thing that was most incredible about it is not the baseball aspect of it. Everyone that is in that organization, we felt them wanting to, the culture of it was, how can we all get better? Not at baseball, but at life. And the thing that I came home with is a great reminder to surround yourself either virtually or physically with people that are going to create that same type of environment and expectations. People that are pouring into you, people that are lifting you up, people that are encouraging you, and do whatever you have to do to cut yourself off from people who are doing the opposite, from the complainers and for the people that are trying to tear you down, or
social media.
Maybe what's that?
Social media.
Yeah, I mean social media, and whether you have whatever brokerage you're at or organization, if you have virtual meetings or in-person meetings, like do yourself a favor and distance yourself from those that are the woe is me, the market sucks, there's, whatever, that negativity, that may be the reality, right? There may be some truth in what they're saying. And also it does no one any good. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help anyone win the day. That kind of negative talk, it does no one any good. And if you're that person, just know that not only are you affecting others, but when you say that kind of stuff, you're programming your brain to go find more of whatever that negative stuff is.
That's the Henry Ford quote, right? Like, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk QR code scan rates. I thought this was like, I don't know. I got jazzed when I saw this on Ryan's social feed, just because I have some experience of what we're seeing, but that can be on some levels anecdotal, sort of, just because what we're seeing doesn't mean I may be the anomaly, right?
Well,
Or maybe I'm below the mean or the average, and I've got to look at what can we do to improve it. So why don't you, Ryan, why don't you go through the different types of direct mail and the different scan rates, and then maybe we can have some
yeah,
takeaways or
yeah.
things to ponder.
Yeah, I definitely want to qualify some of this because I struggled with some of these numbers with our CTO at Thanks who pulled the reporting for me. I went back and forth with him a handful of times because I didn't believe some of the numbers based on anecdotally what I see sometimes.
Yeah.
But what I realized when I dug in, a few things to keep in mind. Thanks.io is not just real estate. So we've got e-commerce, insurance. We got all kinds of industries using us. And that 4x6 postcard, 5.99%, it's legit. A lot of those scans, Josh, and this can be instructive for us, a lot of those are bribe cards. So we have some people who will send big samples of cards and say, hey, if you take an action and leave a review, say on the shopping cart where you bought our product or something like that. So a fair amount of that number is incentivized. But that said, it just says something about incentives. The real estate cards, though, for 4x6, Josh, it is not unusual to see a 6% scan rate.
No,
it doesn't happen on every. I want to be careful and say it doesn't happen on every send, and a lot of it will depend on the quality of your offer and the content. So I don't want people to go send 100 cards today and you don't get 6 scans and you think this stuff doesn't work.
Also, 100 is, I would say, batches of 100 is a good sample size, but in some cases still not a big enough sample size, because maybe when any marketing, is it the message, is it the market, or is it the medium? Well, the medium here is all direct mail. So then it comes down to who are you sending it to and what is the message that you're sending on the card. And it may be that it was not a congruent message or that you're sending it to the wrong people. As silly as it sounds, but like
the picture
sending a home valuation offer to renters is not going to work. Like, and that's an extreme example. Real quick here, because I want to, Mike Stern says, are you using the KV Core code to print on Thanks.io if you're a real estate? Absolutely not, Mike. Absolutely not. This is the built-in QR code functionality with Thanks.io. Now you can send people wherever you want. That's the beautiful thing about it. You can use the tool that's built in and costs nothing in addition to send people wherever you want. And not only that, every time someone scans, you immediately in real time get an email that says so-and-so at such and such address just scanned the QR code on this direct mail piece that sent them to this link, which is, I mean, just incredible data and detail that you can use in many ways to identify, who's most interested, right? They're demonstrating through their behavior that they're interested in whatever it is that you're offering.
Yeah, so you can see it here. It dynamically generates at the top right, and then it puts the URL in. You can personalize this URL too with some attributes. That's getting a little more advanced.
Yeah, well, we have that built out for iList, right? So if you're using iList, you can personalize it so that when someone scans the QR code, they're immediately taken to a dashboard that shows their home and 4 unique automated valuation models that they can, and they're interactive as well. So that's one. And Ryan, there are many other ways that you can have that personalized.
Yep. So 5.99 on the 4x6 makes sense to me on some level because you don't have to open anything. It's right there, right in your face. So if you're making a good offer to somebody, the action is right there. Everybody knows how to use QRs now. You're holding a card in one hand, your phone in the other. The 6x9 postcards, Josh, now smaller sample sizes, but we're still talking millions of cards to be sure. This is 2023, so millions of cards. But the 6x9 postcards come in at 1.08%. And I was thinking about why that is. And I just went and looked back at some of the recent 6x9s that send. Josh, you want to guess why 6x9s convert less than 4x6s?
Well, my answer is probably already been influenced by, because I think I saw your comment, but
Oh, you
probably
saw it, yeah.
too busy, too cluttered, too much going on.
People, yeah, usually when people use a 6x9, they're trying to fit a lot of branding on there and to
Yeah.
say too many things. And you got a big picture of yourself and there's
Yep.
all this design. So the actual offer and the message gets lost in the shuffle. So not to say don't send 6x9s because they are bigger and you're getting a bigger, they can get really good scan rates and response rates, but you want to be careful to keep your message focused.
Focused, clear, and concise, and
Yeah.
and conveying the benefit to the reader, regardless. They care, that old axiom, what's in it for them, what's in
Yeah.
it for me, right? Focus on that, not making it about you, the real estate agent, or the business owner, whatever that may be.
Yep. And in our windowed letters and windowless letters, you'll notice that the windowless letter, a little more expensive, gets twice the response rate as the windowed letter. Makes total sense for me because a windowed letter envelope looks like a bill or like spam.
Yeah. Yep.
Something that is windowless and has the handwriting on the top feels more personal, so it's getting opened more. Is the bottom line. So, and then our note cards come in at a nice 2%, which is great. That's a good scan rate for direct mail. And then the gift cards, Josh, 42%.
The interesting thing about the note cards is, I mean, 2% is pretty significant because they still have to open it. Now, it looks and feels like an invitation. So it not shocking that it would be that good, but there's an extra step for them to get to the QR code versus a postcard.
Yep. So yeah, it's healthy, and you notice it's a little bit better than the letters, which kind of makes sense because I get this in the mail. I'm like, did my aunt send me Christmas money?
Right.
What wedding am I going to? And then the gift cards. I think the 42% is interesting because a gift card is like, here's free money when somebody gets that. Here's something free. So you'd expect it to be high, but it's less than 50% who actually redeem.
Well, it also is a two-step. So they do have to open it. It's impossible for you to know or report as a company the open rate of the mail piece. That's I mean, it's it's impossible to know that. But that's affecting that on some level. And as much as, I mean, we just live in a society that's lazy, and even when it's just interesting, like you said, even when you're giving away free money, not everybody takes it.
Well, or they get it, and they're like, oh, I'll get to that later, and it gets thrown. Right. That's the nature of direct mail. Like, it gets thrown. I see scans that come like a year later now, because I get the scan of on our Eternal and stuff, and I'm like, I go look for the account. I assume it's somebody from like a week ago, and it's like buried. They just had it. So good comments here. What do you think the smallest batch size you should send? Really, really depends, Mike. 100's a good little sample, but it depends on what you're trying to do. Just listed or just sold, and you can send 50. I mean, you're just trying to get your name out there and let the neighbors know that the house sold. So maybe 20 is relevant because there's only 20 neighbors in that subdivision, and that just listed card wouldn't be relevant to people who live the next subdivision over. I would just say anything matters. Josh, to get a good sample size, though, I'd probably be a couple hundred at least.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Like Ryan said, if it's just listed, just sold, and it's a small community and you just want to hit the actual neighbors, whatever that number is, 20, 25, 50. But if we're talking about an outbound marketing campaign with the direct intent of geographic farming or something along those lines, it's hard to make any assumptions or any decisions moving forward on less than 100, and really a couple of hundred.
It's probably more like
500 or 1,000. Yeah. Now you can start small. So right. Maybe you have an audience of 1,000 and you want to test 100 before you go and spend that 1,000. I think that's smart. Requires a little bit of patience. But that makes sense to do. You test 100, and if it goes, if you get a scan rate of 3 to 5%, you let it rip. If the scan rate's under 3, well, we might need to look at, was the message muddled? Was it confusing? Was it, is there something there that we could improve on before we go and let it rip on 500 or 1,000 of them?
I was trying to. There was a question about what works best, just to kind of help
Well,
people.
Ryan, here's what I thought would be cool. Why don't
Yeah.
we do this? Well, a couple of things here. So, future topic suggestions, samples, or ideas of a good offer. Let's make that what's working Wednesday. If you're going to
Okay.
be here, maybe
Yep.
if you can pull together 5, 8, 10 pieces that are working, and I'll share what we're seeing in our own local business that's actually getting the scan rates and engagement rates as well.
Josh,
And
you want to know
know
the dirty
that
secret? The best offers are the ones that are follow-ups to existing leads, not the ones trying to generate new leads. That's still my opinion. That's why the company's called Thanks. It's meant to be a follow-up channel, not a direct lead generation channel, even though a lot of people use it that way.
Definitely.
But yeah.
But we'll share that. And also, for those that don't want to wait till Wednesday, just go to wakeup.real estate and use the chat widget. Mike we have several Google Docs with examples of what we're using and what is working. But regardless of that, I want to see what Ryan's got, because that's what's working in my business, which is, that's that's an example of one, right? So seeing different examples, I think, is valuable. Say that again.
How's your follow-up campaign going? Because you've had a 9-touch campaign going since October.
We continue to get hits on a pretty, they trickle in throughout the week. I will say that the one that seems to be getting the most engagement on the follow-up front is the cash offer.
Okay. And we saw that on the cold lead front too. It works pretty well to have people scan to get a cash offer. Josh, let me share this.
Yeah.
Since Alina brought it up,
yes. So that was going to be what I brought up next, which is Ryan also shared the Sharpie font was so much higher than other font styles.
I didn't know we had this data. This is also global, so it's not real estate specific or anything, but it is pretty interesting. We have our 12 fonts at Thanks.io. The practiced Sharpie is the one that looks the least like real handwriting, so it frustrates me. It looks cartoonish.
It does, but I would say it's
legible.
It's easier to read than some of the other handwritten fonts, which I think probably plays a role in there. I typically use Practice Sharpie or Bold Note. And right or wrong, like the Bold Note one, it's because I think it most closely resembles how I actually write. So that's one that I've used a lot. I would caution you away from using some of the fancier styles that are harder to read.
Yeah. It's a trade-off. So the normal prints there at 5 is pretty high, and the reason is it's more legible. The point of the handwriting, I think, especially on the postcards and the note cards, is to make it feel more personal. So the context is really important. If you're we have a lot of insurance guys who thank people for referrals. If you're thanking somebody for a referral and you really want to make it feel like you wrote it, then you're going to use the handwriting. If you're doing lead generation, I might go toward the normal printer to practice Sharpie based on this info.
You want them. They don't have a relationship with you. They don't know who you are, and if it's hard for them to read, and you don't have a relationship with them, you're more likely to get put in the circular file. If they have to work too hard to understand what's being communicated, I think you have a greater chance of being tossed. So
this information is all cool, Alina, but really it's going to be on your individual campaigns and your testing that you really get to the truth for your offer. So you can, it's kind of neat to look at globally, but I'm not getting a lot of info out of these numbers personally, like that will change my behavior and what I send. I might lean toward the normal print a little more than I have been.
But it's valuable to know, hey, I want to try something. Okay, small postcard, practice Sharpie or normal print. Right. That takes away 2 decisions potentially that then you can focus more on what am I offering and who am I sending it to. So I mean, I think that's, from that standpoint, is very valuable. And for me, our automated follow-up, I think we have some bigger cards in there that I may switch to the smaller cards, not because I don't think we have a muddled message per se, but it's cheaper, A. And if it even gets the same scan rate as the big card, like, I don't know, it means more money I can spend on more follow-up or to generate more leads. So great stuff. Great stuff. So we'll follow up with more on this front on Wednesday. Tomorrow is a Texting and Traffic Tuesday, because I just have a crazy schedule today and even tomorrow, and we were away the weekend, whatever. We are not going to be doing Jordan and I won't be doing a mortgage info session tomorrow. But if you haven't already, you should check out the replays. We have a playlist on our YouTube channel of all of our mortgage sessions, which is Wake Up Real Estate on YouTube. And we have, I believe we've added a link in the navigation at wakeup.realestate with that same playlist to make it easy for you to deep dive. And one mortgage related idea or program that I'll highlight, because I've had, for whatever reason, I've had 3 agents reach out to me about it in the last 3 days, is our Buy Before You Sell program. Buy Before You Sell program. Jordan and I did a deep dive on it. It's in that playlist. We also have a Google Drive folder with a bunch of resources and explanations, things of that nature. That can be, as we are moving more into the springtime here, if you've got clients that are trying to figure out how to buy and sell at the same time, that may be a way for you to get them off the fence or get them to continue the conversation, because it's proactively addressing a block that they have, like how am I going to do this and not end up homeless? So you can check that out. If you can't find anything on that, or you want the Google Drive folder, just use the chat widget bottom right at wakeup.realestate. So we'll have our normal shows all week at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll have our mastermind Wednesday at 1 Eastern. We might do a mortgage info session later in the week, or another deep dive later in the week on some topic. And we hope everybody wins the day. And we hope that we see you back here again tomorrow morning, same place, same time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.